probably the most common question that we've had, or that I've had recently, is when is it going to be time to buy? Should I be buying now or should I be waiting? And I think people are saying to me, I think things are going to turn around quickly, and I want to be in the market when it does. But I just wanted to put some perspective on that and to use some examples from the GFC. A, because we have data for that, and B, because it's not a bad template to use for this current share price cycle, and just have a look at it. So I'm using Stock Doctor. I'm using Commonwealth Bank of Australia for two reasons. One, because it was the biggest company back then, so it's pretty indicative of what was happening in the share market. And two, because it underwent a capital raising that I've spoken before previously on this episode, and we need to see what that looks like. So I'm going into CBA, into advanced charting. Cam, if you're following this.
I am.
I'm going into the monthly frequency.
Yep.
I'm going into the range which is called all, which is the maximum. And I'm using chart style, which is a line.
Yep.
And then, because we normally use a 5-year monthly, I'm going to go back in time around the GFC. And, I think the GFC probably ended in about middle of 2009. So I'm going to use that as the end point and then go back 5 years through to the middle of 2004 as the example. Mm-hmm. So if I start a trend line from 2004 going forward, it's pretty easy to see it. It has bottoms starting at around August 2004 and going all the way up to around December 2007. You can see a trend line going up along that graph, and then it falls off a cliff in January 2008, and so that would be our 3-point sell position. And so I don't know if you're drawing lines on this, but around January 2008, maybe you want to wait a bit further and go February 2008 when the price was $49.80. Oh, sorry, lower. Yeah, $49.80 at the end of February 2008. That's when you're getting out. And then if you look at the two highest points on that section of the graph, it's going back to October 2007, and then to the right of that, December 2007. And if you draw a line with those 2 points, then you're going to have a line which crosses on the upswing around about maybe July, August 2009, when the price is $42.70 in August and $38 in July.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you would have sold at 55 and bought back in at 37.
Yeah. And I would have had the benefit of using my cash for other things along the way if there are other opportunities.
Right.
And look, just to look at the illustrative parts of this graph, if we look at those 2 points when we sold, when we bought, in between, the share price kept going down. It had a few upturns along the way, dead cat bounces, and they're the ones which I think we should try and avoid during this recession or whatever we're having at the moment.
Yeah.
And in particular, the one to avoid is the one in January 2009, which would have been around the time of their capital raising for Commonwealth Bank.
Right.
And
January 2000.
Yeah, see, that's the trough.
Oh, yeah,
and,
okay, yep.
Yeah, and that's and to full disclosure here, I didn't start using 3-point trend lines until after the GFC. Because I went through the GFC and went, okay, I was kind of using gut here to work all these things out. Maybe there's a science to it. So I came across 3-point trend lines and started using those. But what I did do, and I don't think I even had Commonwealth Bank before the GFC. It was a good stock, but it was pretty staid. But what I did get access to was the capital raising. So I remember I was driving through the countryside in New Zealand when we were living there, and get a phone call from my stockbroker saying, I need to know now, but do you want to buy CommBank at $27? And I said, sure.
When was that?
In January of 2009.
Oh, okay, when it bottomed out and it was doing a capital raising.
Yeah, and so its high was $60, and I thought buying at 27 was a good deal. And had to make a call quickly. So that's what happens. That's what will happen during this particular crisis going forward.
So the lesson here though, is that, okay, so you didn't sell at the very high point, but because you have rules in place, whether it's a recession or just normal trading, you would have sold, assuming that, you were using your 3-point trend lines at the time, you would have sold when it breached. So you would have, it peaked at 61, you would have lost, say, 10% on the way down. But then you would have missed the rest of the collapse, and then it bottomed out at 20, $26, $28 or something.
Yep, that's right.
And then you would have bought back in at 37. So you would have missed the first maybe with 30%.
Yeah, probably lost 20% on the way down, and maybe missed the first 20 or 30 on the way up.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
But you're happy to trade that for the risk of selling too late or buying in too early.
Correct. And I guess the one caveat I'll say on that is that we may find that at some stage we get new numbers which will be so compelling and the share price is starting to turn up that we do buy before the 3-point trend line.
Right.
That may happen. I mean, I'm not going to say religiously I follow it, but and during the GFC there are a couple of examples where I just went, oh my God, this is such a compelling offer that Mr. Market is making, and I can see the share price is starting to trend up, that I'm comfortable taking that risk.
So as always, as we tell people with everything on the checklist, this is a guideline, not a rule.
Yeah.
There are exceptions that you can make. This is your investing strategy. If you think you want to make an exception to something that you've heard on the show or something it says in the checklist, then make it. This is your life. It's your investment portfolio. These are just...
That's right.
Tony is not yet the Pope of the Catholic Church. He doesn't get to make rules that you have to live by. We are... we have submitted him for the next conclave. But until such time as you see the white smoke go up and you hear the name Tony Kynaston read out, what is your papal name going to be, Tony? Have you worked that out yet ahead of time?
No, Saint Atheist perhaps.
Pope Kyno the First. Pope.
I think, no, what about Bursa?